Congressman Mark Green, Tennessee Republican. He sits on the House Homeland Security Committee. He's the chairman, kind enough to wait this out with us. And Congressman, what do you make of what you've learned? Obviously, there were some communication breakdowns here, and I know local law enforcement are feeling pleased that Donald Trump had faith in them and they and he and providing protection. But this was really a lucky break by one savvy, quick-witted agent that made this a very different event. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, for me, Neil, one of the biggest sort of comparisons between this and Butler, when I was at the site immediately after the Butler event, I'm standing there where President Trump was doing our assessment of the situation. Cheadle had never even been there. And the acting director, Rowe, I mean, as soon as this incident happened, he's in Palm Beach County, right? So that's a huge difference from what the previous leadership of the Secret Service had done. Now, I will tell you that I look at the way this thing happened, and I'm actually supportive of their response. They had a forward team walking. They identified the shooter. They got to him before he shot. Those are all very good things. Those are things that need to be complimented. Now, there's some things we need to look into. For example, where were their UASs? And, you know, they had a helicopter in the air. What did the helicopter see? What was it covering? So there's a lot of questions that we got to dig into. But yeah, I mean, I'm just immediately impressed with Rowe for getting on a plane and getting down there compared to Cheadle, his predecessor.
You know, it's interesting, too. I guess for now, what we know about the alleged shooter is he's facing 2 firearm counts, right? And if found guilty on both of those, he could be in jail for the next 20 years, pay $500,000 in fines. More might be coming forward. What did you make of, for now, just the 2 firearm count charges?
Yeah, you know, they have to have intent to charge some of the other stuff, and that's just going to take more investigative work, but they can hold him with these charges. So that's why they've, put those 2 charges down very quickly so they could hold him, continue to question him, and get to intent of why he hid in the bushes for 12 hours. Now, you and I, we apply a little logic. We know why he was there. Yeah. But they got to dig into that and get his intent to make the element of the crime and then make the charge on other things.
Well, apparently he's not talking himself right now. So what do you make of that?
Right. Well, I mean, he's a seasoned criminal. This guy was charged with a felony for a weapon of mass destruction. So this guy's a seasoned criminal. He knows how to handle himself in a situation like this. I saw the video clip that the sheriff talked about where he was arrested and guns around him, and he just walks out like, you know, he's been to Baghdad and been shot in combat. So, I mean, this guy he's a seasoned criminal. I think that's the observation to make.
That's a very interesting one. Chairman, could I get your take also on, apparently everyone was in agreement that Donald Trump should be afforded the same level of protection as the President of the United States, Joe Biden, right now. And it sounds like that hasn't happened yet. What did you make of that?
So I had a conversation with Acting Director Rowe on, I think it was Thursday of last week, about Butler. And let me tell you just again, it was a very candid, this is where we screwed up. These were the policies we didn't follow. Our policies are good, but we didn't even follow our own policies. I mean, he had a great laydown for myself and the ranking member. It was exceptional. I am still sort of keeping my eyes on him right now to see how he's going to do with this one. But they're moving forward to fix this. And what he told us on Thursday was that the president had gotten or was getting that level, the same level as President Biden. So the former president is getting the same level as President Biden, to my understanding from the conversation last Thursday.
So let's say now, all right, they're going to make sure that that is in place and that no matter where Donald Trump goes, there will be the same level of Secret Service protection and maybe coordination as is afforded the President of the United States with a guy who used to be President of the United States and wants to once again be President of the United States. But how do we monitor that?
Well, what we do, and I'll give you an example. I'm on the task force, looking into the Butler incident. We'll see how the speaker decides whether he wants to lump this into that or create a second task force. I'll leave that to him. But, I'm on that task force. We've gotten all of the lists of things that need to be sort of addressed from the Butler, the interim report on Butler. Now, all of that's going to go forward on this too. and resource, accountability, to get to the heart of your question will come from those task forces. We will be asking, and this was a question I asked about Butler, I want to know where every Secret Service agent was that day and the week prior. Because they say we're constrained with resources. Well, tell me where all of your other resources were. That's one of the accountability questions that we'll be asking again for today. But today it looked like, they were ahead of the bad guy.
Indeed. Chairman, thank you so much. I know you have a lot on your plate and very appreciative of your taking the time.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.